Did Code talk to you about parking stickers?
No.
Okay, so Code is asking if they could be the ones who issue, starting next year, 2017, the car parking stickers instead of Village Hall. I don't have any problem with it. They want to see the car, they want to see the license plate, they feel Village Hall doesn't have the time to do that. Yep. You know, people are coming in getting stickers and they're not really, they're giving us the information, but it was only as good as the information they're giving us. So that's, Frank is willing to put together parking sticker policy for next year that we can review and then decide if we want to do it.
It's just administratively, it's moving over to.
He would like that.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing he would like is that any village tickets that are written, that the Code is the one who reviews them if there's an issue. A resident comes and wants, like, we just had a resident came to talk to Joe about a ticket. He told me I had to talk to Code or Court or something. So that resident is dealing with Frank now about the ticket, and he's explaining why the person should have the ticket. And he feels that if they're not the ones doing it, then sometimes we don't know all the facts. So I'm fine with that too, if they want to take that over. Okay, and that's, they'll do a policy for that too. So any tickets they write out, if any of the residents want to discuss it or have a problem with it or whatever, they'll deal with Code. Okay?
Have you for boat issues also?
I don't know. Do they write tickets out for boats?
No.
No, right? No, you
Well,
take
they-
care of,
they
oh,
don't
you mean,
remove it at the end of the year, what's that?
no, we do that, Village Hall does that. And the stickers would still go through Village Hall for the boats, right? Okay. And this would be for next year, 2017.
I had several of the code officers talk to me about village tickets. And basically what they're doing is if they have a sticker on a car, even though it doesn't have a current village sticker, if it's within a year, they're not ticketing it. They want to make it so that if you don't have a current sticker on it, you get ticketed. Some people have stickers on it from 2013.
But that's the way it's supposed to be, so I don't understand the question.
Yeah, it's supposed to be that way, but they're not issuing tickets because they feel it's residents.
You keep talking.
They're concerned that the tickets are being thrown out or reduced to a ridiculous price. And the one guy said, why should I risk my life putting a ticket on somebody's car who I don't know if they're going to be thrown out?
Are you talking about the village court?
Yeah, that goes along with it, yes.
I don't know that we're going to get involved in that. He said that he...
Then why hand out tickets at all?
Well, what he said is that everybody deserves a second chance. It's not, and I think it's a nice thing. We're a small, nice village, and he's not throwing a book at everybody. If somebody comes in and they get a ticket, I thought you were going to say that that Code doesn't feel that they should ticket a car if it still has an old...
No, they want to.
Well,
They should
they
be.
should be.
They're
And
not. If it's got a ticket that's not older than a year, they're not even bothering.
Well, maybe what we should say is...
And it
it's
should be,
outdated.
if they don't have a current sticker on it, they get a ticket, that's it. End of the story.
Yes, and then that's the way it's supposed to be, is that if they see a violation, they're supposed to ticket and let Paul and the court decide whether or not they get a second chance, and he does that with everybody, and I think that's a good thing. But if they on their own have decided that they're not gonna ticket people because...
I was told that they took a $75 ticket and the fine was $5. And it was not a resident, it was an outsider.
That's the court. There's nothing to do with us.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Well,
That's the court.
that's the court.
Again, that's ridiculous.
Don't go for it next time. But that's the way it is.
Go talk to the judge. You're a good judge.
Anyway, tickets that they do write, they want to have the option of looking at them and reviewing them. Okay. So, all right, speed bumps, did you want to talk about that?
Yeah,
Because
we'll
I know you
talk
had
a
an
little bit
issue.
about them, but still reviewing them with traffic calming code for New York State. Spoke to a couple of different people. I guess it's all a matter of, what we're able to do. So I'm gonna research it a little bit more, get a couple of quotes. I mean, stuff that you can order online, run anywhere from a 10-foot rubber one.
Or do you wanna
that's
tell,
all
you
the
wanna
way
tell
down.
them what happened, and why you started looking into this?
You guys mostly know where I live. I'm at 54 Washington, and that hill, that corner is rough. People come flying on that hill, and it's not so much even residents, there's a few maybe here and there, but, a lot of these kids now, I almost got clipped the other day, cutting my lawn, and you know what? Just the other day, a group of kids came flying up there, they were cooking about 45 miles an hour. This stuff's gotta slow down some way or another, and I know stop signs are not the answer, but we gotta find something. And this is why I'm hell bent on this right now. It's just, enough is enough. It really is. I can't, God forbid somebody in my family gets hit, it's gonna be a problem.
Can we call in the Suffolk County Police for a while? Will they come in?
They come in once
They hang
every
up.
6 months,
Yeah, they hang up on
and then you
the
sit down and don't see them again.
Right.
So lobby them a little bit more, maybe.
I have friends in the precinct, so I can certainly entertain it, but, outside of that, it is what it is. They're here for a little while and then they're gone. So what does that mean? It still continues. It may slow them down for a month, doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna solve the problem. It'll reduce it for a little bit when their presence is known. I've seen them.
Mm-hmm.
They've been hanging around every once in a while,
Mm-hmm.
but, it is what it is. It's just, it's becoming a big problem for me.
Joe, if we start to look into that, is there a problem with doing that? Can villages do that?
Speed bumps, you can do, yes.
Can we use
They just have to be, the only thing I come across in a recent discussion is they have to be ADA compliant. But, we could work on that. They have to have slats or something in them,
Mm-hmm.
so that it radiates.
Yes.
The problem with speed bumps is that as soon as winter comes, they're destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
They're ripped out, they're broken up, the rubber gets hard and brittle, and the snow plows are gonna rip them right out. And then you start paying for them all, and they're not cheap.
No, they're not, but you know what, if you mark them, you talk to your snow removal guys. Listen, I do snow removal, you do snow removal.
I know.
I don't take out speed bumps, I don't take out parking markers either.
But we're not basically doing roads. And they're gonna sit down there and tell you that in order to sit down there and get the snow off the road, they gotta go a certain distance.
Yeah, that's what
And-
it
You
is.
can pull up the speed bumps if
Yeah,
it's
the
gonna snow.
stop signs though, we and I discussed that years ago. You can't use stop signs to regulate traffic.
Well, they don't
is that
stop
correct?
anyway.
Right, exactly, well, that's another thing too, but,
Oh, wait, they remove, they come off the
You can
narrow?
remove them.
Oh,
there are ones that can be removed, yeah. And
Some people,
they're
some
online.
places,
Well,
some
the
places put
small
them in on the
ones, right?
weekends, they put them, so.
I'm
Are we
sorry.
talking about the small speed bumps or the 5-foot ones that?
Well, you're talking about a hump or a bump. That's the difference. There's a hump, which is actually larger, and then there's a bump, okay?
You'll see
It
them in a
depends
road
on-
sometimes, they're
Right,
about 4 feet
exactly.
long.
Yeah.
When you go over them, your car doesn't bottom out, you
Right,
don't
exactly.
break your springs.
Exactly. Speed bumps, generally kind of narrow, people fly over
Right.
regardless, that's a waste.
Right.
But like I said, I do snow removal for St. Joseph's University.
Mhm.
They got parking, speed bumps, they got everything there. If they're marked, we know where they are, we don't take them out. It's all a matter of how you do your business, and if you have a decent group of people doing snow, they're gonna know to raise their plows, however the case may be. It may not be the perfect cleanup in that one spot or whatever area it is, but it's still.
Can that be written into the snow contract? If
I would
they take
imagine
them
so,
out?
sure. Yeah, let them be responsible for it, absolutely, why not?
One of the problems we're gonna find there is almost every snowstorm, there's different people in here.
Yeah.
That's because they sit down and they don't plow the snow themselves, they hire subcontractors.
No,
And
that's
some of
still-
these guys are absolutely
Well,
But again,
ridiculous.
debate this forever.
Right.
But maybe what we could do is at least find out the preliminary things, and maybe have a trial, and get one at the worst part of the road, which happens to be right by your house there, and then see, but I think what we don't want is to have people flying down, and then after they hit it, say, God damn it, I hit the speed bump.
Right.
Have some signs, we want to slow people down.
Sure.
And we have a lot of trucks and people who don't live in the village who go down
Yep.
there, and you just get up ahead of
Absolutely.
steam, so it's not that they're, perennial speeders, but they
Mhm.
do go too fast at that stretch.
Yeah.
So I think part of the issue would be also to put a nice big sign saying dangerous curves, slow,
Sure.
whatever, and then have speed bumps, something, and then we'll try it out.
Right.
It won't be a major investment to just at least have one there and then see where it goes, and then if it does seem to work, we can expand it somewhere.
Okay, we'll look into it.
All right, Harry, fire pit?
Fire pit.
Cool.
Did you look at locations?
Yes.
What were the locations that you were thinking?
Walnut has a Tamiya over there. Doesn't
what?
seem,
Shouldn't hit it.
Tamiya,
Oh.
Tamiya, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And,
It's like this and comes out like this?
it's a little middle,
Yeah, okay.
put a chimney on it. It seems that everybody thinks that California Beach would be the better place. Now, I talked to a bunch of people, they want it right on the edge of the water, so they can fish in the bugs. But that doesn't seem to be up to everybody's expectation. A lot of people want it in that far back corner. I called the fire department and they said as long as it's a approved fire pit with a screen, there's no fuel in it, and there's water access there, they have no problem with it. I have pictures of it, of several. I happen to think that the round one would probably be better if we're putting it out for people to actually sit around. Maybe this might go along with the unity of the village. People come down, sit around it. We can get music. Everybody come down, talk, listen to music,
Yeah.
whatever. It's a start. I see the badminton, not the volleyball down there, and every weekend I've seen, except for this one. Nobody showed up this weekend, but it was 94 degrees, so yeah, it was gonna show up. But when it was cooler, every weekend I saw more and more people down there. So, maybe all these little things are a start to get some of the people back together again.
Where do you think it should be?
I think it would be in that corner, looking at the backstop for the, that's down there for the softball, baseball, whatever. In that far back corner, there's a hose and water right there. That's where we cook when we have fish fries or whatever. I think that back corner would be a better place.
And what's the cost?
The ones that are in there are with the screen, and they actually make grills for them, so you can put grills on it, and you could actually cook hamburgers or hot dogs on it also. They're between $5.50 and $6.50.
The screens and grills are left overnight.
If the grills, I wouldn't sit down there and say we should put them out unless someone's actually gonna cook. As far as the screen, I think the screen can be used while it's being used. And then if we're going to put it out every night, then you just take the screen, spray it off so it's not hot, and just take it away.
All right. Where does it be kept?
We find a place, I guess, maybe to shed it here, or I would have
It'd be like a sign out.
I would have no problem bringing it down if somebody
And the
wanted
handle, maybe
to.
we could just leave it down there with a chain.
Then you gotta cut a hole through it.
No, something with a handle, just go through it.
Well, I didn't even look to see if the screen has handles. I don't know if they have it. Do they? Well, we could do.
I said this last meeting, I'll say it again. I'm concerned about the overhang of the trees. It's just too dark and low. And
Well, with a screen
sparks.
on it, you're not gonna have sparks
Yeah, but
going.
you don't have the screen until the fire's really going. And sparks
As
go
soon
away.
as you start it, they split in half. If you look at the picture, they split in half. You start the fire and you close it. I mean,
I think we should also get input from Steve too, since he's down, you know what I mean? Okay.
Well, I was down there for that first volleyball. And the Wards had a big family party down there. And it was really very nice because they had the party on the, what's the other side?
Mayor's.
Mayor's Park.
Mayor's Park. They were all over there and they had their, 10 things and the girls and whatever. And then there was softball going on and then we had volleyball game starting. And it was a good use of the whole park, both sides of the park down there. And I can envision if somebody's gonna do that kind of thing, that we have the gazebo at the very end, we have the shoreline view, and you could have something over there that would actually be used more than having the hoot nanny occasionally or whatever, is that people would have these family, they reserve the park, have a family get together, and you have that whole area over there, which waterfront to have a nice fire pit like that would really be nice. I think it would be used. You would have to figure out the water. The water is not on that side; it's on the other side. But I just think that it's if we're going to spend the money for something like that,
I think you have as many.
Integrated
I
into
think
the
you have
parks.
as many trees over there as you do
They're
on the
not
outside.
hanging over.
So we. I looked at it.
Listen, we're running that. We don't want to debate where we're going to put the street.
Right.
We just need to figure out is this viable and what's going to cost and we'll sort it out. I mean, I think it would be a nice addition to that park as we're trying to get people to go down and use it.
All right, but I still think if you're gonna meet with Steve, maybe it's good to see what he thinks too. Okay. All right.
I remember, you also gotta remember, you gotta be able to bring wood to it. You put it all the way down on that end of the Mayor's Park. Now you're gonna be carrying wood. Who's gonna do that? You're gonna carry 50 or 100
I'll
logs?
go down to Walden and see what we need.
Yeah, I realize that, but you can drive
By
right
the way,
there.
it's a separate thing there's a fire pit down there, white metal fire pit that has no cover, and it was roaring 4th of July. So, nobody's gonna say anything 4th of July, but it has no cover. Somebody just put it down there, we have to figure out. If you have a cover, bring it down there, if you don't have it, you just have to remove it.
I mean, I think if you are talking about people actually using it, then you make the access that they can get, if you're bringing a pickup truck, you bring the wood down, because nobody's gonna carry it down on that far end of that thing.
Okay. Anything else? Are we on the resolutions?
I just want to mention one thing, just to go back to tickets, I didn't know this was something we're going to discuss, I'm sorry, otherwise I would have been prepared, but I wanted to mention a couple things that I've always felt about the tickets. I think that one of the things that should happen is we should increase the fine. The problem with the $75 fine is there needs to be some leeway, both on my part and possibly the court's part. But $75 doesn't really give you much leeway. And please keep in mind that people do get warnings. For somebody to show up in court with a parking ticket, a lot has happened.
Yeah.
It's not like they just parked one day and got a ticket. But I've seen everything you can imagine. I've seen women that are so pregnant they're about to deliver babies and their baby and they have something happen and they had to leave the car or whatever. It was a family emergency. One of the people that got ticketed was a family member of the person who passed away in the plane crash, and she came here, went totally hysterical. Brokers are here all the time, trying to show houses. Everything that you can imagine happens as far as the tickets, and they all should have been written because they were all cars that were improperly parked. A lot of people come in where they get a new car and they didn't bother to get a sticker. As far as I'm concerned, they should pay some kind of fine, or one of they got married and the other person just moved into the village, that kind of thing. Didn't bother to get a sticker. So when you hear these stories, I'm very careful to make sure that we get money from. If somebody does something wrong, we make sure that we get money. But when you hear these stories, there's a lot of different things that are at work, you know, in the background, so,
Well, you have been getting money, because in
Yeah.
2013, we lost $14,000 in court. 2014, we lost 12,000, and last year we only lost 10,000.
Right.
So we're losing less money, but we're still losing money.
yeah, I mean, I try really hard, I mean, if anything, there probably could be more, I mean, just going around the village, I mean, I see tickets that could be written, but anyway, it would help a lot if the fine was higher, just because it would be a deterrent, you know, I don't know if $75 is really a deterrent for people, but the other thing is it would give me a lot more discretion when I'm
There
doing.
should be a sign put at each beach or parking area. No sticker, you will get a ticket.